Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Harvey Slater, Holistic Nutrition Coach. How's it going? So I just got back from a couple hours of pretty intense surfing, and I need a recovery meal that will satisfy me and give me a little bit of extra protein and glycogen recovery for my muscles. And sometimes I don't always want to just turn to a shake. And I don't really want to put a whole meal together either. So I'm going to show you how I make power burgers. This is a burger that's fortified with whole foods like vegetables and oats and other stuff. And you can make it using like ground turkey or ground bison, which is one of my favorites. Or if you're a vegan, you can even do it with Beyond Meat. And this is actually even a better way to eat a meat like this, because this is actually more of a processed food. So if you add the extra whole foods to it, you're turning it into a more whole food, a more wholesome food. So I'm going to show you how to make it, and you can really be flexible with what kind of meat you want to put in there depending on your goals and your priorities and your values and all that other stuff that come along with your diet. So check it out. I'm going to show you how to make it right now. All right, so like I said, we're going to do this with the Beyond Burger meat, but you can use ground beef, ground bison, ground chicken, or Beyond Meat or Impossible Meat. I do want to do just a little comparison of the two kinds of meats, because people always ask me what's healthier, regular meat for animals or vegan meat. Well, it just really depends. I mean, I would consider the bison more of an actual whole food because it's just meat coming from the animal, where this is more processed. This is, I believe it's made of soy, it's pea protein, and then there's a lot of oils and stuff. And if you actually do a side-by-side comparison of nutrition facts, the Beyond Beef actually has more calories, more fat, and more saturated fat with the same amount of protein. It also gives you a little bit of carbs, where the beef or the bison only gives you just the protein alone. They both have about the same amount of iron. The Beyond Meat gives you a little bit more iron and a little bit more calcium, according to the panel. But in either case, we're going to add a lot of whole food to it, and that's going to make it a lot more nutritious no matter which one you decide to use. So we're going to go ahead and do it with the Beyond Meat, just for the sake of demonstrating that you can turn this kind of fake meat into a more whole, nourishing meal if you're trying to stay vegan. All right, so we got a bowl here, a mixing bowl, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go put the meat in there. This is a pound of whatever meat you decide you want to use. And then we have some chopped onions. This is about a quarter of a medium onion, or about a half a cup. This is about a handful of fresh spinach. It comes out to about 2 cups of chopped fresh spinach. And then we're going to go ahead and use the half cup measure, and we're going to put, this is just some rolled oats, and I'm going to actually put the equivalent of a cup of rolled oats in there. So that's going to give you a little bit of extra carbs that you need if you are recovering from a workout. You need some of those carbs for some glycogen recovery. And then if you are doing it vegan, which we are, you're going to want to use chia seeds, like a chia egg substitute instead of eggs. So this is going to be 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And then to offset that, because it might end up making it a little too dry and sticky, a chia egg is usually a tablespoon of partially ground chia seeds and 3 tablespoons of either almond milk or water. So I'm going to put in about the equivalent of 6 tablespoons of almond milk here, just to kind of moisten it a little bit so that it doesn't come out too dry. And then if you're doing this with regular meat and you don't mind eating eggs, then you'd want to, instead of the chia seeds and the liquid, you'd want to go ahead and use 2 omega-3 organic eggs. And you can even use the chia seeds in the meat mixture if you want to have more of a plant omega-3 that actually adds fiber to it. So it's really flexible. You know, you can play around and do what you want with it. And then my old favorite for especially plant-based meals is some nutritional yeast. Do about 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup of nutritional yeast. And again, you do not have to put this on the meat burger, but it does give it kind of a cheesy flavor. So it's kind of like having cheese inside your burger without the added fat or cholesterol of added cheese. And then we're always going to do just a little bit of a tweak of salt and some fresh cracked pepper to give it a little extra flavor. And then it's ready for mixing. And then I'm going to go ahead and use a mixing, like a wooden spoon, to mix this up. Sometimes it's better just to get your hands in there and mix it in with your hands, which I might end up doing in a minute. But for now, I'm just going to get the process started with the wooden spoon. And you just kind of want to smash it together, mix it up, smash it together, mix it up. Make sure all of the ingredients are getting all mixed together. Sometimes when you're making meatloaf, this is kind of like a meatloaf recipe, people go, oh, shouldn't you cook the vegetables first? It's like, well, yeah, you can, but you're probably going to cook the meat all the way through anyway. And the point of a lot of the stuff I do on here is to keep it simple. You want to keep, you know, one of my favorite sayings, healthy doesn't have to be hard. So when you start having to cook stuff, and you cook this and you cook that, and you get into all the minutia, then you start getting frustrated, and that's where most of my clients end up stopping with their meal preparation because it's just too complicated or it takes too much time. So we want to be mindful of the keeping things simple. This is actually coming together to a very nice consistency. And I'm just going to with my hands a little bit because I'm an old school chef and we love to put our hands in everything. I know the newer chefs don't do that as much. So that's pretty much what we got there. Now I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to cover it with plastic and let it sit for about an hour so that it can absorb all of the flavors, and the chia seeds with the moisture will start to activate, and they will become coagulant like an egg, and they will help bind and keep the whole thing together. So we're going to go ahead and let that sit before we make it into patties. And remember, this is a make ahead thing. So once this is done, you'll be able to just take it out and eat it. So we'll be back to show you how to make the patties. All right, so we let this sit for about an hour to get a little bit more moist and let that chia seed mixture activate. And I'm going to make it into little patties. Now, you should be able to get about 4 really good sized burgers from this, but I'm going to actually make it into smaller, like maybe 8 smaller patties, because what I like to do is I like to have smaller, like about 3-ounce patties, and then I can put them in little leaves of butter lettuce if I want, or I can put them together and stack them up and put them on a hamburger bun if I want more of a carb, bready kind of balance in my meal. If I had a super active day where I do my 40-mile round-trip commute to my office and I burn a lot of calories, sometimes I have to eat almost 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day in order to keep my body at a good body mass. So I'll eat extra bread and carbs for that reason. If you're keeping low on carbs or you're not worried about a post-workout thing, then you might want to do this because it's already got the carbs in the meat. You've got carbs in the spinach, you got carbs in the onions, you've got carbs in the oats. If you're using the Beyond Meat, you got a little bit of carbs in that. And I think you even have, I'm going to look, you've got a little bit of carbs in the nutrition yeast too. So then you could just put this, cook it up and make a little slider or little sandwiches or little open face cup type sandwiches or hamburgers on a leaf of butter lettuce or a leaf of romaine lettuce with some tomatoes. And I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you a serving suggestion at the end of this video. But anyway, I got these little they're not exactly sliders, or a little bit bigger than a slider, but a little bit smaller than an actual entree. And it looks like I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 or 8 patties out of this. Right? And the meat is kind of already cooked. It's kind of a cooked consistency, so it's not quite as sticky as raw meat from animal flesh. So that's why it's really important to have it, to get it right with that. Make sure you've got the either the egg or the chia seeds in there. And there you've got some awesome, these are plant-based patties with lots of extra nutrition converted into more of a whole food. Again, remember that you can make this with some bison meat or some ground turkey or ground chicken. And you can either use the chia seed eggs or you can use the omega-3 eggs. The chia seed eggs are just basically 1 tablespoon of chia seeds for 3 tablespoons of liquid like almond milk or water. You can mix it ahead or you can just throw it right into the mix. It's because you're going to let the meat sit for a bit. So I'm going to show you how to present this or enjoy it after it's cooked. All right, so I've got the burgers all cooked, and what I made is little butter lettuce sort of hamburger bun cups, kind of a protein style setup. And this is a really awesome ketchup. It's called veggie ketchup, and it's made by a company called True Made Foods. It's made of tomatoes, carrots, squash, and spinach. It's pretty cool. So if you want to add a little extra nutrition without getting that extra sugary ketchup condiment, you can use that. So I've got that, and then I'm just going to take my Power Burger patties and I'm going to stick them on there like that. And what you got then is a absolutely beautiful, nutritious, whole food recovery meal for after a workout or even just for dinner or lunch. This is, as you can see, it didn't take me long to munch some of this down. It's super yummy. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know how you like it in the comments. Later days.